welcome to webinar series hosted by Happiest Health. Happiest Health is a global knowledge platform for health and wellness. I am Kumaran, and I will be your host for today's session on how to manage children's stress during exams. While Class 12 students are ready to face over dozens of entrance exams along their board exams, it is an Herculean task indeed. The expectations from parents, goals to score high and make it to the top seats in the country adds to the stress in children. Some don't sleep. Some take extreme steps to study and ace that exam. Parents, peers, and family members all coexist in this scenario. To discuss more about this and help our dear children to take their exams slow and steady, yet score well, we have with us a robust panel members who will be sharing us their knowledge on how to beat stress in children. We have with us Dr. Naina Kapoor, who has over a decade of experience in behavioral sciences, now serves as the Director of Behavioral Sciences at Delhi Public School, Dwarka, New Delhi. She leads the school's mental health management department, overseeing the successful implementation of the Drishti mental health program. Through her expertise in psychology, child development, and counseling, Dr. Kapoor designs tailored interventions to address the diverse needs of students, teachers, and parents. She is known for her empathetic approach, keen observational skills, and effective communication abilities. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for a very generous introduction, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ranjitha Ambat. Ranjitha Ambat is working as a senior secondary coordinator and counselor in School of India, Bengaluru. With an experience of 18 years in guiding students, she is currently pursuing PhD in behavioral sciences. She is a rank holder in Bardiyar University of Social Work in 2004 and is a silver medalist for the thesis on interpersonal relationship organized by Human Resource Department. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon,
Next
everyone.
up, we have Dr. Shilpa Kalyan. She is also a parent with us today as we join this particular session. She is an associate professor and head Department of Liberal Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences, Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Bengaluru. Media and mass communication educator with over 17 years of experience in academics. Dr. Kalyan is instrumental in establishing media and humanities courses at prestigious colleges and developing the same into reputable institutions. She has worked as project lead for a UGC-sponsored project. She has presented research paper at several international and national conferences. Currently, the South India lead for Global Journalism Trauma Literacy Project, trainer with Google News Initiative India Training Network, and data leads trainer with BBC Young Reporter India, delivering workshops created by BBC News, Internews, and data leads. As a media literacy trainer, she has delivered several guest lectures and conducted workshops. As an academic expert, is a member of the Board of Studies and Board of Examination in several prestigious colleges and universities. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the generous introduction, and pleasure to be here as a parent.
Yes, thank you. To move on with discussions, let me start with Dr. Naina Kapoor. Dr. Naina, how can excessive exam stress impact a child's mental and physical health? What are the signs that parents must know in child's experiencing unhealthy levels of exam stress? For example, I said there are dozens of entrance exams these students will be writing from now in March and April to secure seats. So what is according to you, ma'am?
So whenever we talk about any phenomena that's occurring in the body that is physiological, there has to be a root that is psychological to it also. So when I talk about students and when they come to me and the counselors on everyday basis, they report that excessive nervousness, palpitations, changes in breathing patterns, fatigue, lack of sleep, increase or decrease in appetite. All these are seen as, okay, my child is going through exam and it's okay. That if at all they're feeling that, but parents need to also understand, and children also need to self-assess themselves, that where are they standing? If they have sweaty, clammy hands all day, if they are palpitating at an abnormal rate, if they are not, if even small signs like if they're urinating frequently,
Yeah.
or there's a lot of bloating, there's a lot of increase in appetite, there's a lot of binge eating, emotional eating that is happening. So I feel these are all the signs which are right now, parents just think that, okay, fine, it's okay, our child needs to be prepared for the exams, and giving them a chips or two in the night, and maybe if they are studying at unusual schedules, that is, they're sleeping throughout the day and studying in the night, that's okay. But your body, our body remembers everything.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
body, physiological memory understands that there is a sleep cycle to it, that there is a that is required, a balanced, a nutritional diet that is required. And usually in times of stress, we as adults also face similar signs, that we either get too hungry, or we don't want to eat anything, or we have this, we feel that on edge behavior while talking, and we feel the constant urge to get reassurance and validation as to what we are doing is okay. So I feel it's a collective effort of the three important stakeholders of the community. One, the school system, wherein the teachers and the mentors play a lot of important role, because they children look up to them, and whatever's like, it has been history that whoever teacher we used to have a connection with, that subject we actually used to like. So whenever I am in a school also, I always say that as a psychologist, one should, and as an educator, one should always give preference to connection before curriculum.
Yeah.
So if connection once is established with the teacher, the connection is also established with the subject.
Yeah, true.
So why if I question myself and my own understanding of where I was with mathematics, it was because I was not supported well by my mentors. So because each child is unique and each child learns at their own pace. So it's no, I'm not attributing the blame to the mentors, but I'm just saying that a significant responsibility in inculcating a child's interest and aptitude lies within the hands of the mentors or the teachers.
Correct.
Then
Correct.
Another important stakeholder are the parents. When we talk about parents, we say that our task is to support the child. Their task is to not only support, but also diligently supervise the child. And this supervision is often confused with interference. And today's generation, millennials are the space generation. They want space. They want to lock the doors. They want to have the conversation on their own. They want the privacy in their phones. They want privacy in their desktops. So how do parents establish a viewpoint perspective that it's okay for my child to also have a life of their own, while also making sure that I am a part of that world and that life?
Correct.
So even children block their parents on social media. They form fake profiles. So this is all that we've been seeing on everyday basis as professionals. And one only advice that I give to parents is that they have to be friends first. And being friends does not diminish the authority of being parent. Because this is the requirement of today's generation. They will not open up until and unless they feel safe enough to. And safety is not only an absence of threat. It is the presence of that emotional and psychological cushion that is provided in the home culture.
Absolutely.
And the last stakeholders are the adults in the family apart from the parents. So, and I have witnessed that many of our students, many of the learners find solace in talking to adults who are different than parents. And then it is a kind of understanding that it goes on as a circle of influence from all these three stakeholders towards the child. So that's how I would want to answer the question.
Sure, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Naina, because I think that's the good start to the entire, setting a precedence to the entire conversation. So to come to Ranjitha, how can parents differentiate between normal, or what do you call so-called healthy levels of pre-exam anxiety and acute stress. Like what Dr. Naina was talking about, there are even a little sign on frequent urination is also something that's what gives us a hint. But as parents, how do you differentiate?
Right. Thank you. So see, basically, according to us, stress is just a negative feeling for everyone.
Yeah.
But as far as we are concerned, as psychologists, I think we believe that stress has two sides. There is a eustress and there is a de-stress.
Yeah.
Right. So the positive side of stress, which is known as a eustress, will be something as a driving force that is catering you towards your needs. So if you pile up your things in such a way that you are just burning the midnight oil, then it is definitely going to be a de-stress. Right.
Yeah.
So when you have this stress, which is on a positive note, you are pre-planning, you are scheduling, everything is in hand. You are doing bit by bit of it, and then you are reaching somewhere. That is, your target is being reached. That is a eustress. So I think during that journey, when there is eustress, there may be so many things which we as parents may consider no, there is something wrong with the child. For example, I can tell you when you think that okay, my child is learning, but suddenly he has planned something, so he makes a schedule. Okay, then he makes his room clutter free. So as a parent, we should be happy, and just patting him will do wonders.
Mm-hmm.
We create stress in them. What happened to you? Why you have cleaned your room? Everything is cleared. What happened? You're all right. You are stressed too much. That is the reason you are doing so many things. Even he takes a break. Okay, we'll be like, okay, you're taking a break. I guess you have studied for so long. That is the reason. So maybe the child has already planned his schedule. So I guess we have to give him the independence to you know to just be himself, because he knows where to go. So he has planned certain things because of which he may show some kind of positive signs of stress, which can be included like the high motivation to study, maybe a positive outlook. That we cannot take it as a negative stress, telling that everything will be fine, I'm okay, I will do it. I think as parents, we need to support it. So that is a positive sign, like the positive outlook which is there. It is not never a cold shoulder towards the future, towards his endeavors. It is like he has already planned, right? Then something else I can tell you, like we can say, yeah, for example, butterflies in stomach, okay,
Yeah.
small palpitations, as ma'am had already told. These are all normal. These are all normal. It will happen even before any session, even before our all the classes, although we have taken so many classes, even before first class or the class to be started, we just go through, we have a glance at anything. So that is a positive stress, so that our performance is not hindered to that level. There can be these physical symptoms. There can be a less of, I can say, sometimes sleep disturbances. But I think that's what I'm coming up to with the involvement of parents, these positive stress which a parent can notice. If you are a good observer about your child, of your child, you can definitely help your child. It will never go to that negative extent. So negative symptoms, or you can, yeah, if you ask me the acute symptoms of it, maybe
Mm.
we can talk about anxiety. We
Yeah.
can talk about depression. It may take hours and hours to talk about it,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anxiety, depression, and then this kind of curiosity, the physical illness which he may develop will be the weakened immune system.
Mm.
Then the child may have panic attacks.
Okay.
Okay. So there are children who are going for board exams in different schools. We have got mail, or different schools have different mails telling that my daughter or my son actually sweats a lot during examination. Can they carry an extra towel for these things? So parents are also worried at that point of time. So
Yeah.
these are some things which are actually affecting his physical stress, because there is a hormone which is released. I mean, yeah, the stress hormone, which is actually making imbalance in his nature.
Mm.
There may be abuse. That is, the way he speaks, that is, the self-talk will be negative. I can't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is actually opposite of what we told about the positive outlook. I
Yeah.
am not able to do it. So these are some positive and negative signs.
Mhm.
And also, the coping mechanism is also negative. It is not
Okay.
about getting involved with others.
Yeah.
It will be rather going to a different extent where he will, find solace in being with the wrong company, getting addicted to things. So many things like this where you have to see that, where you have to observe that your child is going in a wrong path. Now, as a parent, what we can do is I think we have to have a supportive environment. As ma'am was also telling, I would echo the same thing. We should be firm. It is not about always being friendly. Correct. We need to be firm, friendly as yes, but also we need to draw a line where we can also, yes, get involved. So when we involve in that manner, the first thing which comes to our mind is about effective communication. So I
Yeah.
think that has to happen. The communication is the only key. The approachability is the only key where the child feels that he can come to us. But as parents, I think we are all busy in our own world. Even the small children, if they are there, if they show us something, whatever they have done, we'll be over the phone or something telling them, yes, yes, I'll see later. And that later never comes back.
Yeah,
And we have
absolutely.
seen so many children coming to us and telling, ma'am, our parents don't have time for us. So I guess that is the greatest scenario. I think that is the greatest difficulty that we all are facing. That even though we are getting involved, the thing is ki how far are we getting involved? The quality time that we are spending is not happening. So according to me, I feel ki if we have that quality time, it is best that as a parent, we'll be able to judge, not judge, maybe we'll be able to take care and observe what are the positive signs of stress, which just now we have just gone through it, or the negative sign. So I guess that quality time, that effective communication means a lot for the parental bond.
Absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. The sides of stress, as you very clearly mentioned, keeping the room tidy shouldn't become a sign of panic. It's actually someone is actually planning stuff. That's absolutely well put response. We have a parent now. Of course, the two doctors said that this is how parents should be and everything. Dr. Shilpa, we wanted to understand what measures are most parents taking to avoid stress in children. Of course, you guys would have had a lot of mechanisms for your children to not stress out, be relaxed while attempting to exams. So, what were the most important parenting tips, ma'am?
Even before getting to the stage where the child is being very stressed just before the exam,
Okay.
I would also suggest, usually parents will have to watch out for red flags in the child much ahead. In the sense, for example, as Dr. Naina said, children with anxiety for, it could be, say, specific subjects. It can be probably math phobia, or a child is not able to crack a certain language, well. So at times, parents will have to pause. There were times when we used to hear from our parents, if we find something difficult, probably you're lazy or you're not putting in enough effort, right? So this is where psychological well-being plays a role. So probably parents will have to pause and understand what are the stress factors. Why is my child not able to cope up? Is it because the child has, it could be a learning disability, the child might have anxiety issues, right? The child might have other psychological concerns, which, I mean, I would not want to go into the causes might be umpteen, but then an early intervention definitely eases that stress. CBSE has so many options. Child can opt for basic math, advanced, I mean, if a child is challenged with math, or they can even skip courses, they can take extra help. There are so many accommodations that are provided in the system, so parents should be aware of that, right? Instead of brushing aside, if the child says, no, I'm not able to manage this, instead of saying, just put in extra effort, relax, you just have to probably get to the root cause of why my child is actually experiencing this, right? And then maybe it becomes easier for you to treat and address that specific cause. So if it requires the child to have a constant counseling sessions, therapy, external interventions, or psychiatric interventions, if required, there is no longer, I mean, parents should understand there is no more stigma attached to mental health.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
once that is established, so that means at home there is more acknowledgement of what is happening, and you're also creating that supportive atmosphere, supportive environment. And then probably closer to the exams, then you understand, okay, fine. Then you know, and also another important stress factor is the fear of consequence. Now, what is it that the parents stress the child about? See, this is what you have to score. Now, why do you have to score this? If you have to get admission in XYZ, college or school, and why do you have to get admission? You have to crack a JE, you have to crack NEET, you have to get here, you have to get there. So this also is a pressure of excelling in only one unidirectional way, is also something that can add to a lot of stress. First of all, parents should be aware and sensitive of the umpteen opportunities available out there, career opportunities available. So probably if I know my child's strengths and weaknesses, I know this is what my child is capable of, not because of the child's willingness to learn, but then in terms of their cognitive abilities, right? Learning abilities, learning levels. And accordingly, the child can be guided into, see, look, if not this, you do also have these career options. You don't have to get into engineering only. If the child is very creative, obviously the child might actually struggle to cope up with some courses, right? So you can relax. So that is certain things, of course, other than making sure you have enough and more nutritional requirements taken care at home and creating a conducive atmosphere to study. I'm looking at something a little long run. So even if your child comes back after day one of exam and says, sorry, I did not do well, then the parent, first of all, shouldn't get disheartened saying, oh my God, what next? If you know it's fine, relax. There is an out, or there is a way out of this. So it's not like this is end of the world. So that is important when you have that conversation, when you understand, when you go beyond the surface level. I think that gives a lot of confidence in the child. As a parent, I think it's important for all of us to be a little more aware of this. And that is how I am approaching my child.
Okay. And also there are multiple options, man. I think a lot of children these days, or the school or the teaching faculty, what they don't tell the children is, I think, I don't know if I'm wrong, please correct me, but they don't tell children is that we have multiple of options. Even if you don't do it today, I think the next month there's another exam. Then next, there are so many other exams. I think that shouldn't be taken in a wrong way. Moving on to Dr. Naina Kapoor, ma'am, so we moved from this particular angle to now the management part of it. Are there any examples of school systems that have implemented policies to promote student wellness over exam performance? What role does school play in reducing exam stress among children, ma'am?
So I'm glad you asked this question because my entire career of 12 years entirely in schools I've just focused that social emotional learning and psychological core values have to be a part of not only the classroom but beyond the classroom also. Mm-hmm. So in my particular school, when I introduced a mental health program, taking into consideration all three stakeholders, that I want to not only work on the students, but also on the educators and also on the parents, because happiness is something there where we inculcate a lot of warmth and safety. Unhappy adults are harsh on children. So, and with this premise, in my own school, I have... with the help of the management, I have tried to introduce an ecosystem which creates safety, which creates a sense of belongingness for the students. And how does this happen? One, it starts from the classroom. When you have essential agreements in the classroom, it's a technique that on the very first, in the very first 2 to 3 weeks of when the school starts, that's called the settling in time, the teacher and the student come to a consensus of how they can essentially help each other, making the classroom environment more supportive for learning, for making, and when it is coming from the student, there is a sense of ownership. Because most of the times what happens is we give the ground rules. Oh, these are the ground rules and you have to follow that. But when you make students the partner in collaboration of making it sure that this space of learning is handled with respect, with cooperation, and with compassion. So from there itself, a sense of stress starts to, students start to unfold, that they start developing, like ma'am said, that eustress is something that's very positive in nature and that should be experienced for reaching on to optimal level of performances. So it is taken in that spirit. Then last year we introduced this program called Prayatna, wherein the students are given frequent exposure to wherein the students are given frequent exposures to understanding that what can be the best of coping mechanisms. So here I feel that then from the very early start, right, suppose a child is in 9th, suppose a child is in grade 10th and grade 12th, if from the very start and with consistency, if you start teaching the child about adequate coping mechanisms, such as breathing techniques, such as talking to adults at the right time, such as making sure that they have an open dialogue with their friends, or if they are not fitting in clearly with their peer circle, developing a support system for them. So schools have to understand that nothing works just with immediate effect. So it has to come with a lot of readiness from the school's end, involving a lot of professionals, making sure that not the teachers are also following a teacher counselor model. Not every school before 10 years used to have a counselor, but the teachers were empathetic enough that if my grandparent has probably has expired, my teacher used to come to that ceremony. I mean, that was a level of compassion, empathy, and a child was heard, seen, and felt in their own classroom.
Absolutely.
However, when we progressively go in with the league schools, it's that when you're going into individualist culture rather than collectivist, everyone gets busy with their own life. So again, I would say that a lot has to be embedded in the culture of the school for students to feel the safety and students to feel that ecosystem is being managed. And we have to make exemplary outlook. One has to demonstrate that if panic and anxiety are being percolated from the top, the students will catch it. So it simply has to start with the way we talk in the school, the core values that are understood, the way support staff is being treated, and there is how students catch.
Exactly.
So,
their observance, right?
They're absorbent. So they're like emotional sponges. Whatever you demonstrate around them, they'll be able to grasp it. So
Absolutely.
I say that rather than doing certain big acts of making it a conscious effort, it has to be in the school's cultural environment where coping mechanisms, where respect for the community, and where understanding of one's own body. So in my school, we call it Yuvantaran. Why? Because we start to make the child understand about what are the bodily changes, about how does the body change after a certain time. So it's called body emotion education.
Yeah.
So how your body is linked to emotion, how there are certain feelings that you feel. So it comes, the dynamics has to float from the classroom to the grade level, then to the school level, and then to the organizational level.
Yeah.
So that's how CBSE is also promoting a lot of programs, and schools are aligning with it. And I'm happy to say that in my school, we have 6 counselors and 2 special educators, wherein making it adhering to the global standard compliance of 250:1 student counselor ratio.
Okay.
So we have to make sure that the student counselor ratio in each schools have to be according to the global standards. Only then a child can be attended to. appreciated and acknowledged in the right way. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Naina, for putting out an entire box of guidance for children and parents. And absolutely, when school is the second home, we always say, I think it's also a place where students pick it up, be it the way teachers are acting upon exams, or the school management is hell bent on having scores and ranks and everything for them, for their school. It's very difficult. Ranjitha ma'am, so just wanted to understand, do these excessive exam stress at a young age have long-term effects?
Yeah, that was, yeah, that question, I guess it is a similar question, which, yeah, such type of questions always pops into the mind of all the parents.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, it has got a long-term effect because, see, when we talk about a child or a person being healthy, it is on the basis of their emotional, social, and physical well-being, if we take it as a triangle. Now, when we are talking about the emotional, social, and the physical well-being of a child also, this is because of the parental support that they're giving, because parents are pillars for them. That is exactly, I mean, that is really true. But then, when such stress comes to them, whether it is exam stress, it is some kind of performance stress, because stress depends on each phase of life. Because I had my students when, when we were taking class in 11th and 12th, they were asking, ma'am, we would have been in Montessori, we would have just learned ABCD. It's easy for us. But then I was telling them at that time, your IQ and EQ was different. For you, it was a stress at that time, right? Maybe now it is feeling easy. So each phase of life has got different way the stress has to be handled. So as a question was posed, yes, I would like to tell that there is, because if you take the physical health consequence of that, particularly, individuals were subjected to chronic stress at a young age, they may develop some kind of, I can say, maladaptive coping mechanisms. For example, when the physique is hindered, they have certain physical health issues, including cardiovascular issues, weakened immune system, increased susceptibility to illnesses, okay, anxiety, depression, all these are related to their physical ailments. Now, there are some kind of cognitive impairment also. Cognitive is the coordination between the thinking and the doing. So the chronic stress, okay, it can affect their cognitive abilities such as, memory, their attention, their speaking abilities, their decision making, okay, because as I had just told about the cortisol hormone, it affects the structure and function of your brain. So when it is released to that extent, it may definitely impair your cognitive functioning for a longer run. And this actually puts a negative impact on the academic performance, because we feel when they are stressed, yes, they will do it. Okay, but I can say it as, yeah, paradoxically, excessive stress may hinder academic performance rather than enhancing it. So it can interfere with concentration, your problem solving skill, your decision making skill, overall learning. So all these things are negative impact on, it is a negative impact on the academic stress when you can't control your way of handling or tackling the situation, or maybe reducing your stress. Okay, then yes, obviously there will be maladaptive coping mechanism, because there will be withdrawal in a longer run in the emotional and social security. So when they are not able to cope up with the stress, which is their peer pressure or their parental pressure or whatever it is, what happens is that when the parents see for an example, when the parents are taking their children along with them at a later stage, maybe at the college days, or maybe you can say the middle school age also, when they're going for a function, they are just introducing their children to their relatives. Unknowingly, sometimes few parents, it is not deliberately, unknowingly thinking that, yes, child will take it in a different way. It is easy for them to handle. They will just tell, see how their child has done. Good. So see, you can approach them for more guidance. This is the way they tell. So unknowingly, they are comparing their child with the other person. So it is not, it is not a deliberate talk. It is not a deliberate conversation. But the moment they speak, the thing which they are giving to their own child, some kind of, negative vibes comes to the child. Now, the same thing, they may not stop it there, because we have seen so many parents who do like this. They go to their home. When they're back home, they again, talk about the situation. See, I told you, now he's very good in that child, but the approach is different.
Yeah.
There, it was a social circumstance. They had to be socially good. Okay,
So that
see, he has
mindset
done like
keeps
that.
moving on.
Yeah, the mindset keeps moving, but they pointed out the same situation or the
Thank you.
thing is, yes, my child did not do. So there
Yeah.
is a common comparison, because of which the child is actually traumatized. He will not be, his emotional stability
Right.
is actually taking a toss.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
parents, maybe it is not deliberately. See, no parents want their child to go to that level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yes, it so
That's kind of
happens.
fix.
Socially, what happens? The child, as he grows, he feels that I am not secured enough. I am not able, I am not a person who can be portrayed in front of the public,
Yeah.
in front of a party. Maybe I am not a proud figure for my parent.
Yeah.
So such things, what happens? He get withdrawn. He get withdrawn. So when he gets withdrawn to a particular situation, obviously he will approach his peer, and there is peer pressure, and the coping mechanism also matters a lot. So I guess this is the way out. It just affects their physical, cognitive, their
Yeah.
emotional balance. It is a cycle. I can
Like,
say it
yeah.
is a cycle. So one gets affected, it is a chain reaction. When how we have learned in science, that is a food chain. The
Mm.
same way, everything is
True.
related. So
True.
as
True.
parents, as educators, as I think, as we are the healthcare professionals, we have to recognize the signs of excessive stress in young individuals. And I guess we have to provide appropriate support to them, and implementing, actually the stress management techniques, and then promoting a balanced lifestyle in all the ways, from all the angles. So I think that is the best way, because this is going to affect them in a long run. As the question
Yeah.
was, yes, it is going to affect them in a longer run.
Sure.
So we as educators and the supporters, that is the social support, how we are, I think it's our duty to help them out, to take it as a challenge and face it, telling that we are along with them in this journey.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. We've also have audience, maybe parents, teachers, or even children who are participating in the live session happening now. You can please post your questions in the Q&A chat box or the comment section. We will take it up with our panelists at the end of the round 3. Moving on to Shilpa, ma'am. Of course, when you started your first answer, you said that I'll keep aside what I do for my children at home, giving a conducive environment and everything, and let's focus on this. But again, I want to come back to that particular question, ma'am. So how can parents create an environment at home that reduces exam pressure on their children? What are the lifestyles that can help, lifestyle changes that can help?
Okay. First of all, of course, there are multiple ways of approaching this.
Yeah.
I've had, my friends or colleagues, people who say, board exam here, parents take a year break from work, and then they're just with the child, to make sure they're constantly there.
Yeah.
That is one approach. But I would, my personal thing is, the moment you kind of put everything to a halt, and then when you center everything around only the child, then that probably could also be counterproductive. The child might think, oh, this is that important. To that extent, I understand exams are important, but then the moment you start attaching importance beyond what it needs to be received, I think that can be counterproductive. Again, as I told, it is individual experiences and individual way of looking at it. But otherwise, few lifestyle changes in the sense, probably just to make sure there is a peaceful place for the child to sit and study, right? or it could be ensuring a nutritional diet. Now it's summer in Bangalore, it's peak summer, and
Yes.
kids might tend to, skip drinking water, or they don't even realize they need to take it. So probably ensuring they have enough and more fruits and juice and, tender coconut, just to make sure these are balanced as one. And do not force feed your child. It's fine, during exams they will not be able to eat beyond what generally they eat, but as long as you think they are eating enough to manage, if it is a balanced one, I think it should be fine, because when you are stressed and it is coupled with, something very heavy, then probably it might have counter reactions again. So a few things: listen to your child, that is also there, and small things. I'm sure most of the parents would be doing that, on the day of exam, especially, if you probably have decided the routine, what time the child wants to wake up and what time she or he wants to be dropped off, or rather what would be the breakfast preferences of the child, after coming back to school, what is it that the child would prefer. These small conversations probably might help set certain mutual expectations in place. And as I told, just listen to what the child has to say, because it's done. Whatever you wanted to do probably at one point is all done, but just closer to the exams, just let go with the flow. If the child is not able to sit for a longer hours to study, it is perfectly fine. And also, I've also heard parents, there are multiple category of parents. You have parents who I've seen some of my colleagues, friends on social media, as soon as the child comes from the exam, you actually play with them, go out with them, you kind of get their minds off exam before they restart, right?
Yes.
Just to recharge their minds. So that's a wonderful way, I feel. And also in terms of when a parent takes pride in saying, my child wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning and studies till X hours, and she sleeps late in the night, I think somewhere the child is also internalizing that, okay, this is the acknowledgement that my parents give if
Yeah.
I study, and that sets higher expectation. So it is fine if you can actually tell your child not to skip on a peaceful sleep, a minimum duration of sleep that the child needs, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. It is important. If you keep telling the child it's okay, during exams you can sleep only 4 hours, 5 hours, it is not something that will help. Even indirectly, if you're very happy, if you pat your child saying, okay, wow, you woke up at 4 o'clock, it's great, right? You're actually somewhere setting that expectations without your knowledge. So go a little slow in how you kind of give that space to the child, and be aware of how you kind of ensure the sleep needs are not affected is extremely important. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for these ready-to-eat tips. These are all. So quickly summing it up, one last question to all of you with your short answers. I'll come to Ranjitha ma'am. So do factors like parental expectations, peer pressure, and competition for college admissions play an increasing exam stress?
Yes, yes, definitely. It is a yes from everyone, I guess.
Okay.
Because, see, the parental pressure, it is like, sometimes we feel it as, because, yes, we counsel so many children in our school also. We have counselors. We have actually the quality time exactly from top to bottom. We know our students when they want us. So the thing is, key, the parents also, when they come, they tell, they have certain unrealistic expectations. It is like, sometimes we feel we are asking a fish to climb a tree. It can't happen, but it has got its own strength. If you, at some point or other, parents are not able to understand that their children are good at so many other things. So this parental pressure, yes, it is a matter of concern, because there is comparison. As just before that, for the question, which I think I just I was speaking about the same thing. There is parental pressure because there is a comparison. And because, yes, my son should get, because my neighbor's son is also doing it. He is going for JE and NEET coaching. But my child, if he has taken commerce or humanities, he has ample time So why should he take? So they are not understanding there is a whole lot of gateway for commerce, humanities, and all these streams also. So it is still a myth that science
Yeah.
stream only works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the myths associated with few things, the comparison. So all these are parental pressure. Yes, it is a parental pressure because there are unrealistic expectations.
Sure.
And the
Okay.
child, and the children are bound to satisfy. And few parents are like, I have done this. See, we had one of the children, I think his grandparent came and told, I was an IIT student at that time, ma'am. Grandparent telling to us was it was
I
okay,
know.
because his parents were quiet. So grandparent, that comparison also
Yeah.
has come.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had done my IIT in that level, so still he's not able to. So the stress, the
So it's
maximum
like
amount of
my
stress,
father is a doctor, mother is a doctor. I should also become a doctor.
obviously that
Yeah.
should come.
Hmm.
So when we were doing certain kind of activities in our school, also when we were asking the parents, when we have certain counseling sessions for parents also, we just gave them some activity in which they were asked to hold something in their little finger.
Mhm.
One thing was given, they were able to handle two, three, four, six things. It was such pressure for them. They handled it when they saw that actually my neighbor is doing it, so I also should compete for it. This is the exact pressure what the children is having. At some point of time it breaks. The finger, that is, you can compare the child as this small finger, it just
Sure.
breaks. Okay,
Sure.
so this is the parental pressure and the peer pressure. Obviously when this comparison happens, they feel that yes, my friend is able to do this, so why am I not able to do this? So if they are going for this coaching, I also need this time for coaching. I need to go somewhere. And whether the child is mentally and physically present, he just will be there and he will be concentrating. He'll be trying to concentrating, actually
Sure.
speaking, because
Sure.
all others are doing it.
Sure.
And
Sure.
yes, college pressure, if you ask me, yes, after 11th, 12th, what happens is there is a cutoff mark in so many colleges for so many seats, and they have to satisfy it. Right from 11th standard itself, we'll tell them, yes, we will tell them there is a cutoff mark like this. If
Yeah.
you're not having a good score in the first attempt of JEE, if you write a Karnataka entrance and 50% marks is taken from your board exams,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is told by the teachers, it is told by the parents. So this is a stress for them. And college, to get a good seat, that also there should be a good campus recruitment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all these things, the recruitment and everything comes to the child, it develops a pressure. But I think when we are talking about all these things, yes, most of the parents who are here, they will feel, because see, myself, I'm a parent. So we all feel, yes, we all tell this because this is how it is now. This is a competitive world. But I guess, always, I guess, and I believe with our support, with our intervention as a stakeholder, it was as it was rightly pointed out by the speakers, as a stakeholder, we can do it. We can take this. See, this too shall pass, right?
Yes.
These pressure, this stress will definitely be there,
Sure.
but how to approach it when we are with them? I
Sure.
think we will be in the lives of our students, because when we are in their lives, definitely we will be in the memories of their tomorrows.
Yeah.
So we
Thank you.
have to be present in their lives, so that it is carried on like that.
Thank you. Thanks, Ranjitha ma'am. Dr. Naina Kapoor, I would also come to this particular part of it. I think we missed this conversation. Do you think there is a need for re-evaluating the student evaluation process, the exam policies, considering the growth effect it has on students' mental health?
Definitely, I think, and this is high time that the nation has realized it. With the coming of National Education Policy 2020 and with National Curriculum Framework, focusing on more competency-based assessments and something that's more formative and regular rather than yearly. So now most of the schools are pilot to the attempt of the CBSE, where they'll be conducting the board's examination twice a year.
Mhm.
So, and it will be a mandate from 25-26, from the year 25-26. So one has to move beyond rote learning. One has to focus on internal assessments a lot, so gone are those days where only if a child writes, they are supposed to be brainy. So if you are like children today say to me that, ma'am, marks come hai, dimag nahi. So then what matters are those 21st century skills and how we foster them. How do the children understand the pragmatic aspect of each and everything? How real world learning is taking place in the schools rather than only rote learning, and how multidimensional assessment is being a part. That if my son is good in music, and if my son knows how to understand his emotion and others' emotions, and even though he's scoring less in science and maths, I should be a fulfilled and happy parent. So it is a balanced approach that we have to focus on. With NCF coming in and NEP coming in, there is a holistic system of assessment called Parak now, which is performance assessment review analysis of knowledge of holistic development. So now with Parak, the report cards that are coming in will not only reflect the academic assessments, but also about the social emotional learning, the sports, the music, the performing arts, the visual arts, and how the child's ability to
Great.
grasp all of that is there.
Yeah,
Harvard's is 8 there are so many multi-intelligence theory has come into practice, and Bloom's taxonomy with the national education policy. And I'm happy that the schools are honoring it, because they do have a timeline that they have to be NEP ready by 2025.
Right. So the
Thank you.
policies are evolving, is what you see.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, ma'am. So Shilpa, ma'am. So I just wanted to ask you one thing that we all missed in this conversation is, as a parent, what do you have to say about the role of social media, the technology that plays a role in increasing academic competition and exam pressure? Of course, we've all been talking about this very subtly, as though the technology and social media is not a part of this conversation. But how do you handle as a parent, ma'am?
It's very much part of the conversation, because
Yeah.
today, teachers are also constantly in touch with students in WhatsApp groups, sending question papers, sending, study material and XYZ. So obviously the child is somewhere, trying to see what is happening, what are the conversations around, and multiple things. And again, the 10th and 12th, you also have graduation days, and there are lot of things, children are also part of a lot of other conversations around. But ideally, as a parent, I mean, the first thing that we have to understand is ensure there is a digital detox for the child, at least during the exams, because just to make sure the child is not exposed. I'm not talking about the academic conversations that I refer to, probably WhatsApp groups or other the social engagements for the child, but then social media per se, their Snapchat or Insta. These are the spaces where children are most active, and if that can probably be regulated, for the child's mental well-being, because that would also help help them focus a little more towards their academics. And even if it is non-academic, even if it is about relaxation, there are multiple other channels to relax, and not social media per se. So parents, I think, should make a conscious decision not to get a mobile phone for the child, and just leave it unregulated. Even if you buy the mobile phone, even if the child has access to mobile phone, just make sure there is a certain time. Because the children, they will have their social media accounts, but make sure the time is regulated. When they're using, what they're using. Just trust me, it's not easy to know what the child is doing with the social media.
Thanks for that honest answer, ma'am. I
Yeah,
think
because so I mean, in my case, my personal experience, we've completely, of course, my child does not have access to her own gadget, that she uses my device if she has to access material. So that is one way of doing it, at least
Great.
for now.
Great. Thanks a lot. We just have another 2 minutes to wrap up this entire session. I think there are a lot of questions that's coming in, around 9 to 10 questions. I'll quickly read it out. Maybe that as a summing point, each panelist can take one question and then sum it up and give your golden tip to parents, students, everyone attending in this particular session. One question is that as parents, how you can manage a healthy diet during exams? Does it help you beat the exam stress? The other thing is there a right way or wrong way to study for exams? How can I prepare my child's study schedule? The other thing is, very importantly, one person is asked that my child says playing an outdoor game for 30 minutes every day helps her focus better for exams. What should I do? Am I confused? I am confused. Sorry. There are many parents who want to work closely with their children during exams, monitoring their study schedule. Does micromanagement help, and how much is too much? There's another audience from the panel. Garima says, my kids are 14 and 16 and fight a lot over small things, and this really derails from their studies. How can we stop the fights which blow up into full-fledged ones? What are the ideal relaxation methods children can prepare themselves with? Is binge eating among students preparing for exams a concern? How can parents identify this? It's the same question again. Any of one of these questions, if one of you can just take it
So
up and give yes, we'll go with Dr. Naina.
So I'll take the question which says that the children are 14 and 16 and they fight and
Yeah.
So we have to understand that what are we preparing our children for? We want them to learn conflict resolution skills, but is that possible without they have a conflict? So we have to honor the aspect that even if children are fighting, even that's contributing to sibling bonding, that's contributing to their conflict resolution skills. And if at all derailment is happening, it's an adolescent behavior. One has to understand that they are going through a lot of hormonal rush. They need to invest their energies, and if they have a partner to do so, nothing better than that. So just make sure that someone also asked about scheduling. So it has to come from the child. I believe that if the ownership is there with the child and you make the schedule along with them, it helps them follow that to a greater extent. Then one last question was about 30 minutes of play. If my child wants to go, please tell them to go and play for 30 to 60 minutes, because apart from a physical and nutritive diet, a child has a physical and sensory diet too. So if we honor that, it will help them come back and restore and refresh their minds rather than being virtually involved and playing some game over the internet. It's better that they go out in a physical environment and expose themselves and their bodies of all the sensory inputs that they can take from there.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Naina. Dr. Shilpa Kalyan.
Can I?
Oh, yeah. Okay, Ranjitha, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah. So, see, I was just listening to a few questions which had the same crux. I think how far you need to intervene, how far you need to be with the children, and what is the level of intervention and all this micromanagement. Yeah. See, basically, I would just take an example where one of my friends, when one of my college friends, so he was telling, he is extremely busy. Okay, his wife is also extremely busy, and his children are in 4th standard or 3rd standard. Still, he takes time to read their answers. So I guess, first of all, I mean, before beginning with this discussion, I guess it is about, and he told me he reads the entire answers, what they have written. It's not only about only the correct answers, or maybe only the wrong answers, and then pinpointing the child, why it has been wrong here, what is the reason, and what more. And I mean, see, nothing like that. It is just about being with them. So, according to me, if you ask, it is just your involvement, and it is just celebrating their growth and growth and their progress rather than success. So if we take, for example, yes, a child is getting full on full. That is the only celebration for a parent. According to me, it should be, if the child is moving from 60% to 70%, it demands celebration.
Sure.
It is his work, it is his progress. So I guess we have to celebrate it. And now, how far you have to get involved in it? See, I have known certain parents, okay, few parents who are telling, yes, yes, ma'am, I do wake up my child at 5 o'clock. I keep the alarm. I have given him certain navigation techniques for the meditation, but he is not doing, he'll sleep. But that is how it is. If we are not bothered to sit with our child and do the same technique, at least for 20, 21 days, you be with the child, for a month, you be with the child, he will also do that. So when our involvement is nothing, where he finds us, see, we are telling them not to use a gadget, but in a room, we are just behind them using, just filling with the phone, and the child is studying, he will not study.
Yeah,
Rather,
absolutely.
we take a book and we read. It gives them, even right from the Montessori, okay, when we tell them the bedtime stories and all these things. When
Yeah,
we are reading a book, I have seen children taking their books, which tells A for apple, B for boy, just looking into that, and they get habituated that this is how it should be. We
yeah,
will sleep after listening to a story or maybe reading a book. So
yeah.
until and unless we are a positive model for our kids, they will not follow it.
Sure, sure, ma'am.
So I
Thank you.
guess our involvement there also should be in that level. We should restrict ourselves more than being, being like a policeman, okay, with a stick, or like, taming animals. We can't do that. So rather,
Absolutely.
we should be telling them, I am using this. I am also doing this. So let's do it together. I think that is the involvement. That is the
It's
Lakshmi
just
Rekha
not
that
the
we can draw, that we
micromanagement. I
have to
think
go. Yeah.
it's just not the
Hmm.
micromanagement. I think it's just the cooperation at
It
the
is
same
just a
level.
cooperation.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a
Thank you.
collaborative work. Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
is.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, ma'am. The last comments by Dr. Shilpa.
Yeah, I think the other panelists have actually spoken well about each of these. Just to, as a parent, I think
Yeah.
we just have to let the child, evolve with the exams. This is not the end, be all and end all. This is just one of the phases. If you think, if you just, sit and think, you have 12th, and then you have your, graduation, then post graduation. I mean, it's a never ending process. It's constantly you are there. Now, we are not writing exams, right? I and you are not writing exams, but are we stress free? No. So
Oh,
this is
not at all.
here to stay. So I think if we kind of somewhere take child into confidence, saying, relax, this is not the only thing. You pass this and everything is rosy. It's not. So
It's a
things
start,
will, so it
probably.
means, yeah, it's a start. So that means you don't have to attach that kind of a paramount Himalayan kind of importance to this, to
Yeah,
exams.
yeah,
Just one
yeah.
of the parameters.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think that's the summation that I think I had to close the session with. Thank you so much, Dr. Shilpa, ma'am. Once again, Dr. Naina Kapoor, thank you so much for joining from DPS Dwarka, Delhi. Dr. Ranjitha Ambat from School of India, Bangalore, and Dr. Shilpa Kalyan from Mahe. Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you, audience, who have stayed together, stayed with us for at least 60 minutes odd. And once again, your inputs were really informative. And if there are further questions, we will reach out to you. And audience, you can log on to www.happiesthealth.com and reach out to us and read our stories about health and wellness. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Pleasure.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.